I wanted to post a response video to this sovereign citizen training for law enforcement from Florida Sheriffs. Forgive the quality of this video. I'm recording this with my camera right off YouTube because it's so much easier than trying to do a capture and translate that with my video software into a new video for everyone. So the reason why I wanted to make sure I got this done is because they put up this video, and of course the comments are blocked, so no one can leave a comment. It was uploaded within the past 3 months. We've got over 55,000 views. So I wanted to go through the countless points that I watched on this video that need to be discussed. You know, they make videos like this, if it's a legitimate video, to train police officers with, to teach them about what the sovereign movement is. Now, I was a part of this so-called sovereign citizen movement for over 10 years of my life. It was something that I gathered information from and used to some extent with mainly things relating to traffic matters, simply because the way I read traffic law, the way the court system was working with traffic law didn't seem to be following the law as it was written, and I wondered why. There's a lot of points made in this video that are making huge assumptions about the nature of the people in this, quote, movement. I hate calling it a movement. Number one, there are a lot more people involved in it than they claim there is. It's not like a little niche, cultish group of people. There's large numbers of people involved in this, and they're not all weirdos. They're just ordinary, everyday people. You can look up, I think John Stossel did a whole report on this. He's a well-known news reporter who went to these meetings of these sovereign, quote, sovereign citizens and found that they're just ordinary, everyday people who've been screwed by the government at some point in their lives, where government has come in and said, we're going to do this to you and we're going to do that to you as officers or enforcement officers, and we're going to take you into our court, and then we're going to do whatever we want to you there. We're not going to follow any of our own laws, and we don't care what you think of it. Would that piss any American off? I think so. I don't think that's what America's about. So I wanted to show what some of this video is. I'm going to stop it and pause it and discuss things. This is probably going to be a multi-part series because this needs to be responded to. Now, since the comments are not enabled, I challenge anyone who uploaded this or was involved in the making and production of this video, including all the people interviewed in it, and or all cops, prosecutors, or especially judges, to comment on my points. Speak up and say something. Why do you have the comments disabled if you didn't have something to hide? That's why so-called sovereign citizen people are angry. There's no transparency. Everything is hidden. They want to know why the government, cops, prosecutors, judges can break their own laws while the rest of us have to be held accountable to it. Now, again, I don't consider myself a part of this anymore. I have a driver's license. I pay taxes. I'm a good little boy because I've learned the hard way. There is no due process anymore. There are no rights. You are a slave here, and you'd better get your license where the government gives you permission to do what you want to do, and you better abide by their rules, or they will do whatever they want to you. And that's why a lot of these people go off the deep end and get violent because they don't understand why that's happening in America. And I think the kind of questions that I'm going to pose are well worthy of being answered. And I think about 90% of Americans, real Americans, would want the answers to these questions. So let's watch some of this video.
You need to know about the sovereign citizen movement.
I'm Sadie Darnell, Sheriff of Alachua County. This video is being produced by the Florida Sheriffs Association and the U.S. Attorney's Office to raise awareness for law enforcement regarding the sovereign citizen movement and how they may impact us. Sovereign citizen is a catch-all phrase used to describe a variety of anti-government groups and individuals.
No. Stop right there for starters. Yes, there are some lunatics in this group of people. Of course there is. There's going to be in any group of people. Are they anti-government? No, they're not anti-government. They're in fact very pro-government. That is a horrendous misrepresentation of what these people are about. And it goes to show what they're teaching police officers. Why would they teach such a thing? Why would they teach wannabe police officers that these so-called sovereign citizen folks are anti-government when the vast majority, again, I'll use that 80% figure, are absolutely not. They're pro-honest government that follows their own laws. It's as simple as that.
Who share a common belief that our United States government, including our court system and law enforcement, is a fraud and they are exempt from our authority.
Okay, is a fraud. Well, if you look at traffic tickets, which is what I was studying and trying to deal with. Now, I'm 100% pro-traffic law. Of course I am. I have a problem with government making money off of traffic tickets because I believe that creates a conflict of interest and an inherent bias. How does it not? If government makes money, don't they benefit from every single guilty verdict that's rendered? Now, what was just said, I wanted to...
Government, including our court system and law enforcement, is a fraud and they are exempt from our authority.
The fraud part. We get traffic tickets and we're going into a court being asked to plead guilty or not guilty. What is with this guilty and not guilty issue when no crime has happened in well over 90 to 95% plus of the traffic instances in that traffic court? Traffic court is a civil matter. It is civil. Anyone who studies law knows this is a civil matter. Of course it is, because there's no crime. Crime applies to criminal procedure. So if we are being brought into a court and then asked to participate in a criminal proceeding, okay, are we guilty or are we not guilty? When you're in a civil proceeding, you're never asked to, are you guilty or not guilty? It doesn't apply to a civil proceeding. So why are we being brought into a criminal proceeding? That's called fraud. Please answer that, prosecutors, cops, and judges.
Now to Georgia, where the streets outside a county courthouse were quiet again after a bloody shootout on its steps. Just before lunch, this was the sound of the gunfight outside the Forsyth County Courthouse north of Atlanta, recorded on a cell phone by an eyewitness. Police say that Dennis Marks, a self-described anti-government sovereign citizen, was behind the wheel of this silver SUV, carrying an assault rifle, tear gas, pepper spray, 2 handguns, a bomb, and flex ties that he planned to use to restrain people. Marks was part of an underground movement that believes its members don't have to follow the law. The government calls them domestic terrorists.
Okay, now this person is an extremist. He does not represent the vast majority, but note how this is the only thing that gets put in the news. Never the people like me who are simply questioning the government and saying, how can you deny us due process? For instance, in a traffic matter. How can you put us in jail at your whim and never be held liable for it or responsible in any way? How can you deny and ignore the great writ of habeas corpus? Deny it and ignore it and never be held responsible or liable. That's the kind of questions most of us have, the vast majority. This is one of these people who lost and got angry. But isn't it understandable, based on what I just asked, that you believe you live in a country that honors its laws and honors the people that live in it, yet clearly does not?
Reject violence, but members have had shootouts with police before.
I'm Pamela Marsh, and I'm the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Florida. There have been numerous encounters by law enforcement with sovereign citizens across the nation and right here in the state of Florida. We've seen sovereign citizens who've created their own driver's license and vehicle tags. They've filed million-dollar false liens against government officials and law enforcement officials. They may challenge the validity of our state and national laws. Sovereign citizens may tell you that you have no authority over them and that they are not within your jurisdiction, but that is simply not true.
Is it? Now, a lot of these people do these sorts of things with their driver's licenses, and they file liens. Now, my experience has been, when I have heard about this, about a dozen different people filing liens, they go to jail real fast. Okay, because they don't understand what they're doing and they are committing a form of fraud. As to the rest of it, with the creating driver's licenses and whatnot, I don't fully understand what they're trying to do. Now, and granted, I have a really thorough and deep understanding of what a lot of these groups around the country are studying. And I've studied a ton of law. I even went to college and studied law. So I have a really thorough understanding. I consider myself to have a very thorough understanding of a lot of law. I know a lot more than a lot of attorneys do. So when they're trying to do this, I won't claim to say they have a right to do so. I will just say I don't know exactly what they're doing and how it would apply towards any remedy. But as far as the government having jurisdiction over everyone, do they? And what gives them that jurisdiction over everyone? That's what people want to know. If we live in a free country and we are able to go to court and challenge various forms of jurisdiction and get dismissals through those challenges, how can the government claim to always have jurisdiction over everyone? Well, part of that I have learned is through our citizenship. If you are a U.S. citizen, I have learned that you absolutely are under their jurisdiction. What you do from there is based on how much you know about the law.
It's our hope that through this training video, you will learn more about what sovereign citizens believe, and that most of all, it will help keep you safe.
Known as sovereign citizens.
Now here goes the promotion of how sovereign citizens are dangerous. Now, I'm not a Christian, and there's a lot of people in this movement who are hardcore, fundamentalist, born-again type Christians. I am basically agnostic to borderline atheist. I think Christian is a load of bullcrap, to put it lightly, as I do any other religion. So it was a very frustrating over 10 years for me to be a part of these groups and deal with these brainwashed religious people. There was a huge challenge for me to be up against, and it is brainwashing. They're reading a book claiming that it's a book of facts called the Bible, having no idea who the authors were. You can't meet the authors and talk to them, ask them what it was about, describing events that they've never witnessed, and they're holding it out as a truth. That's a form of, that's called lunacy, that's called insanity. Okay, so they have that going against them from my perspective to begin with, but I support much of what the rest of them are about. And again, only a very small percentage of these people are dangerous. And yeah, there are lunatics in it, just like there are anywhere else. And yes, there are some dangerous people just like anywhere else. Are you going to sit here and tell me that cops as a whole are completely not dangerous? Let me repeat that. Are you going to sit here and tell me that the government and cops in general are not dangerous? You get a traffic ticket, a guy's approaching your car and he's holding his gun? You don't find that to be a dangerous situation? How many people have been killed 2013, 2014 by cops?
People who do not believe that many of the basic laws of this country apply to them.
I'm not an American citizen. I do not recognize these. I am my counsel.
They have disrupted courtrooms, led police on high...
Now that gentleman was saying he's not an American citizen. Now if you fill out a voter registration card, you are required to sign something that states, under the penalty of perjury through an affidavit, that you are a U.S. citizen. Now, a lot of people don't understand exactly what that means or the liabilities involved in that. You darn well bet there's liabilities. It's not simply a matter of saying, yes, I'm a U.S. citizen, so therefore I have a right to vote. Why would they make you sign an affidavit under a penalty of perjury that you are a U.S. citizen? Don't you think it's possible there could be some liability involved in signing something stating you are something, that you are such and such? And what does it mean to be a U.S. citizen? A great many people have never taken the time to study it. I will do a part 2 on this video soon.